Hello, my name is Trieu. I study communication training and development for the last semester, and that is my project of what I'm training by what I'm training about present on how to properly present, and the main focus here is to the learning objective here is to identify the benefit and drawbacks of the presentation methods, and also introduce them to the new presentation approaches. Even though I'm reading well, but however, I want people to see that there are there are better ways, and there are unrecognized mistakes that people have been making, because presentation has been such a basic skills that it goes under the people radar sometimes. However, I want to address this to help people elevate their existing skills of presentation, and also how to fix this and identify their problems, which include a lecture, a interaction with the lectures, feedback of the lectures, and also activities. The second method of the activities is new news anchor activities. However, we will go into that a little bit later. The format here is laid out to be 4 to 5 teams of 3 persons, which is like around 12 to 15 people in the training sections, which will be later dividing them into groups of 3s. And I wish to my ideal situation is to have around 15 of them, to or a little bit less, in order to present properly, to conclude and present in a timely manner. And first of all, here is when will be begin the training handout. This will be my first handout, and it is just a really simple handout, because they will be doing this. They will be filling out the with the lectures, which is right here, along with them. And when I talk about engagement, I will talk about what is engagement and what is that include which, and what is the note that they would want to write down. I won't say that they have to write down any notes, but if they want to learn, that would be great. And then we keep going to avoid distraction, and here it is, avoid filler words, and here it is, and so on and so on. And next we go to the part 2 of the engagement, and most of the parts over here will serve to remind them of the key point with the presentation, and to help them follow along with what I'm saying. And if they are distracted, they can have a look at that and catch up with what I was saying using this. And I believe with this handout filled out, but by the end of this lecture, the feedback and the break, I can use that time to form a group. And around when we found a group around that time, people will be able to ask people on how those words are filled, and what is the answer to those, even though those are really easy, and you should be able to follow along and do it as I was speaking. And that should conclude the lecture part of the training. Next is the activities. I call method 2. What is I will divide them into 4 to 5 teams of 3, specifically 3 of them. 2 of them will be news anchor. The third will be the visual aid. Will be responsible for visual aid. because I want two of the news anchors to be able to summarize and understand the what what are needed to be said. And usually on a presentation, there's supposed to be one to two presenters so that they can help each other out, and that the the role of the third person is that they will handle the presentation, right? But in order to handle a presentation and visual aid, the third person will also have to be able to understand the materials and the summaries that was that was concluded by all three of them, and thus while the other two will be writing down their scripts, will be thinking of how they're gonna present themselves. They will be also needed to communicate with the third person in order to put the visual aid together. Even though it is just 20 minutes activities with 5 minutes each of presentation, 5 or less minutes of presentation, I I believe that I we will be able to have all three people to understand and summarize and deliver the information given to them on a similar level, while and while presenting the the cues, only the person who's responsible for the visual aid and the presentation be able to switch the slides or insert the next photos, because that is what because everybody need to be following the presentation. And I hope and I believe that activities in particular will help them to do that. And I also want to encourage creativities to try a new method of presentation. Like, instead of just doing a whiteboard classic presentation, they can stand up, have people walk around and walk around on the iPad showing something like that. That would be on the Chinese creativities to do. I would just be encouraging them. And then the feedback will include both verbal and a scale feedback of each person, of each team presentation, and that includes engagement. Are there enough interaction with the audience, or do you think that they give you a kind of a negative engagement thing, or not? And also distraction. Were they being distractive? Was their language bad? Was there was there was the speed bad? And what about the imaging and visual aid? Did you understand them correctly? Because to be able to identify the audience and to live up to the audience expectation is also a proper skill in the appropriate language and images part. And then time management. Did they go over 5 minutes? Did they use their time effectively? Effectively doesn't need to be short. They can use up the entire 5 minutes, but if they use that 5 minutes informatively and effectively and somewhat entertainingly, how would that be? And how much did they earn on that? And yeah, I believe that while after a good amount of lecture, my training section should be able to give people a good amount of knowledge and educated people enough, and was interactive enough with the trainees, so that they will remember what will be learned throughout the handout right here. Because writing down something and give answer to it is a very good part of remembering what was being taught. And finally, they get to apply their skills, what they have learned almost immediately, and with creativities and freedoms with it. So I hope that this would be a great way of training people on how to present, because I was really sick of how people cannot present. And yeah, thank you so much for this semester, and that should be it.